In a Vietnamese seafood market, scientists found an armored animal with the face of Darth Vader. Inside a sperm whale, they found a squid so strange it needed an entirely new family. And in the Atlantic, one of the largest animals in the ocean had been hiding in plain sight. These creatures are real. On March 19, 2026, the World Register of Marine Species released its official selection of 10 remarkable marine species formally described during 2025. That wording matters. A species can be collected decades before science has enough evidence to recognize and name it. So this is not a list of animals that suddenly appeared last year. It is a list of lives that finally crossed the border into the human record. Worms did not rank them. Our countdown does. From a microscopic dragon to a giant ray, these are 10 new ocean species that look invented, but are not. Number 10. The Dragon Nematode. Its scientific name is Dracogallus migalitus. It belongs to one of the most abundant and diverse groups of animals on Earth, the nematodes. Most nematodes are simple tubes. This one belongs to a group built to grip hard surfaces and move across them. Researchers described it from an inactive structure at a hydrothermal vent, a place where mineral architecture remains after the hottest flow has stopped. Under a microscope, its sculpted body turns a creature too small to command the naked eye into something almost mythological. The dragon is not a monster. It is a machine for holding on. The name Migalitus honors Pedro Miguel, the lead author's young nephew, whose fascination with dragons became part of taxonomy. That is the first surprise of this list. Scientific names are not cold labels. They can preserve a child, a language, a myth, or the exact place a life was found. Number 9. Iskra's glitter worm. Photinopalino iskra is a scale worm from deep Pacific habitats that do not run on sunlight. It has been recorded at whale falls, wood falls and methane seeps, islands of chemical energy scattered across the dark seafloor. At a whale fall, bacteria unlock energy from a body descending from the bright world above. At a woodfall, a tree becomes food and shelter in a place where forests have never grown. At a methane seep, microorganisms build an ecosystem from chemicals rising through the crust. 3 different ruins. 1 glittering survivor. Many related worms specialize in one kind of chemosynthetic habitat. Iskra's glitter worm has been found across several. Its name means spark. A high school student chose it after winning a competition, naming the species after a childhood dog. The animal glitters in darkness. The name carries a private memory into the scientific record. Number 8. The golden glow Zoantharian. Corallizoanthus aureus is a colonial relative of sea anemones described from southern Japan. It lives attached to another deep water animal, and when disturbed in darkness, it can produce visible light. Bioluminescence is not the same as fluorescence. Fluorescence absorbs one wavelength and releases another. Bioluminescence is light made through chemistry. The researchers tested the new Zoantharian under ultraviolet light and did not detect fluorescence in that condition. The gold was not merely reflecting. The animal was generating a signal. Exactly how that light is produced remains unresolved. Bacteria have been suggested in related discussions, but the paper did not present experimental proof for that mechanism. The honest wonder is not pretending the mystery is solved. It is watching a new species make darkness visible while the mechanism remains open. Number 7. The good luck flatworm. Acanthobothrium golketon is a parasitic tapeworm known from the Brazilian guitarfish, Pseudobartos horkley. Its attachment organ resembles a 4-leaf clover. Its name, golketon, means good luck in the Tehuelche language of Patagonia. But its biology carries a darker symmetry. The guitarfish host is critically endangered. If a parasite depends on one disappearing host, saving the host may also be the only way to save the parasite. Conservation is not a popularity contest. An ecosystem includes the lives we admire and the lives that live inside them. Scientists inferred that the new flatworm may itself face extreme risk because its known world is tied to a threatened animal. The same name also preserves a language whose last native speaker died in 2019 and which descendant communities are working to revitalize. One small worm now connects two forms of survival, biological and cultural. Number 6. The nodule crown coral. At roughly 4,000 meters, seawater chemistry makes building a stony skeleton unusually difficult. Deltocyathus zoemetallicus does it anyway, while living on polymetallic nodules scattered across the abyssal plain. These nodules grow over immense spans of time. They also contain metals that have made parts of the deep seafloor targets for proposed mining. For a sessile animal, the nodule is not scenery. It is the hard surface that makes life possible. Remove the rock, and you do not simply remove an object. You remove an address. Seafloor imagery found the coral more often where nodules were more abundant. That does not prove one future operation will erase the species. It does show why naming life before altering its habitat matters. The coral's existence turns an abstract mineral field into a neighborhood. Number 5. The Elven abyss tunicate. Tunicates are our distant chordate relatives. Many filter tiny particles from seawater. Some deep-sea forms have become predators. Kykoja undune waits with its oral siphon open, a living trap positioned in the abyss. Its species name comes from an Elvish phrase written by J.R.R. Tolkien and translated as abyss yawning. The reference fits the animal's open feeding posture without requiring a fantasy monster. The abyss does not need our imagination to become strange. The 2025 study used molecular phylogeny to examine predatory tunicates and described 7 new species. Kykoja undune was not isolated as a curiosity. It became part of a larger attempt to reconstruct how these animals are related. That is what taxonomy does at its best. It does not simply name a shape. It places a life into history. Number 4. The sponge ambusher worm. About 1,000 meters down on northwest Pacific seamounts, a human-occupied submersible collected glass sponges with something waiting inside. Unis siphon insidiator can reach about 18 centimeters. It carries powerful jaws and lives in the central cavity of a glass sponge. Glass sponges build frameworks from silica. To us, the interior resembles a fortress made from needles and glass. To the worm, it may be shelter, camouflage, and a hunting blind. A predator did not build the castle. It moved in. Researchers found at least one ambusher in every examined host and proposed that the relationship may benefit both sides. The sponge may protect the worm. The worm may remove animals that would settle on the sponge and interfere with feeding. But may is essential. The partnership is a scientific interpretation supported by observations, not a contract humans have watched being signed. The animal's name means tube ambusher. For once, the dramatic nickname is almost a literal description. Number 3. The Darth Vader supergiant Isopod. Bathynomus vaderi looks like an enormous marine woodlouse wearing a helmet from another galaxy. It is the first species of the deep-sea genus Bathynomus formally described from Vietnam. And it was not discovered in an untouched trench. Specimens appeared in seafood markets in Quy Nhon City. Unknown to science did not mean unknown to people. That reversal matters. Local fishers and markets may encounter animals long before a taxonomist compares their body structures, measurements, and genetics. The species became part of a growing culinary trade before science understood its range, population size, or reproductive biology. The Darth Vader name comes from the shape of its head. The deeper story is that a very large animal can hide inside a familiar category. It was not invisible. It was misrecognized. Number 2. The Atlantic Manta Ray. For years, researchers suspected that some Atlantic mantas did not fit the 2 recognized manta ray species. The animals were enormous, visible, and photographed. Yet the boundary between one species and another remained unresolved. The 2025 description of Mobula yeri combined color patterns, teeth, skin characters, and DNA from mantas around the world. The result established a third recognized manta ray species, distributed in Atlantic waters. One of the ocean's giants had been hiding in plain sight, not behind darkness, but behind resemblance. The name Yeri honors Yora, a water spirit from indigenous Brazilian traditions. Recognizing a distinct species changes more than a field guide. It allows researchers and governments to ask where that species travels, what threatens it, and whether protection matches its real range. Taxonomy can look like paperwork from a distance. For a vulnerable animal crossing many national waters, the correct name is infrastructure. Number 1. Poseidon squid. In the 1950s, a sperm whale was hunted in Antarctic waters. Inside its stomach was a pale, gelatinous squid specimen. The specimen entered a museum collection and remained there for roughly 70 years, assigned to the wrong part of the squid family tree. Then researchers examined it again. Its arms carried unusual hooks with a large central point and smaller side cusps, a shape recalling Poseidon's trident. It lacked the glowing organs found in many deep-sea squids. Its anatomy did not fit the known families. The correction required more than a new species. Scientists created a new genus, Mobidicea, and a new family, Mobidicidae, for a branch of oceanic squid represented by one preserved individual. The genus honors Moby Dick and the real sperm whale that delivered the specimen to science. The species name, Poseidonii, honors the sea god reflected in its trident-like hooks. This was not a living encounter. No camera followed Poseidon's squid through the water. Almost everything begins with one damaged messenger from a whale's final meal. That limitation is precisely why the discovery is so powerful. A museum shelf held an entire family of squid that science did not yet know how to see. The ocean does not hide life in only one way. Sometimes darkness hides it. Sometimes resemblance hides it. Sometimes a market label hides it. Sometimes an old museum label does. The 10 animals in this film were formally described in 2025, but their stories stretch across vents, whale falls, markets, endangered hosts, abyssal rocks, and collections built generations ago. Worms reported that almost 2,600 marine species, including fossil species, were described and added to its system during 2025. Its top 10 is not proof that these are the most important. It is a window into the work of hundreds of taxonomists building a map that remains unfinished. New to science does not mean new to Earth. It means the evidence finally became strong enough for us to admit that an old category was incomplete. And every corrected category changes the questions we can ask: what lives here, what depends on it, what threatens it, and what might disappear before it is named. If one giant manta can hide in the Atlantic, one supergiant isopod can hide in a market, and one squid family can hide in a museum, the age of discovery is not over. We have simply been looking at an ocean larger than our language. Which creature deserves a full CreatureCosmos investigation next, Poseidon squid, the sponge ambusher, or the Atlantic Manta Ray? Leave its name below, subscribe for real creatures stranger than fiction, and remember the rule that protects every story on this channel. Wonder begins where invention ends.